morning. I am at Matsuyama Castle, and it's really crazy bright out here. We woke up early this morning, had breakfast at the Dogo Onsen. It did enjoy breakfast. The breakfast was massive, just was dinner. And the crazy thing about breakfast is that, again, we had like burning stuff in front of us. So they brought out the grills again, a little bit different this time. This time the grill was for fish cakes. And then the soup we had was tonjiro, which that is the name of the pork stew or pork soup that we've been having at every breakfast. It's just a pork that's stewed in a miso-like sauce or soup. Again, it was all you could eat rice and all you could drink tea. We enjoyed ourselves. They had this weird egg and okra thing, which I tried to eat. It's just very difficult and bland. So that was probably the only thing I could not finish. Everything else, though, delicious. The umeboshi, the pickles. Oh, there was a chili in my pickles, and that was really spicy. So there was a bit of a kick there. Trying to think what else we had. It was an epic breakfast. Both Lynn and I got two bowls of rice just to make sure, because I don't know what we're doing for lunch, as it is about 11 o'clock right now, 11:30, and we're going to go rent bicycles. Probably going to skip the next castle. We'll see what happens. We're going to go rent bikes first, though, because that's, in my opinion, the important thing. One of the key things that Lynn wanted to do this trip, so we'll make it happen for her. Feeling a little worse today than yesterday. Been wearing a mask for the most part. We did stop by a pharmacy for some time loss, I guess you could say, in the morning, where I got some cold medicine for later tonight. After the pharmacy, we came here to the castle, where we are now. It's super bright here, but the castle is fantastic. I believe this is one of the castles that, like, most Japanese people say that you should come to. It's like an amazing castle, Matsuyama Castle, and I 100% agree. Like, out of all the castles I've been to in my life, I think this castle is probably the best one. I'm trying to remember Himeji. That was also fantastic. Nagoya was also fantastic. I think the one that everybody goes to first is probably the least fantastic, which is Osaka. But, I mean, it's still cool. It's just not fantastic, I would say. Coming here, just tons of history on how the lord here, Matsuyama, lost his name. He became, I want to say it was like Hide something. I'll have to look it up and write it down. We tried to go through pretty quick, actually, and that's probably the only unfortunate part about that, is because we had that time loss in the morning, plus we need to make sure we can go rent the bikes. Unfortunately, the bike rentals don't take reservations. It is a first come, first serve basis. So we'll go grab what we can, and hopefully we can grab a couple of the less expensive electric bikes. Otherwise, we're grabbing the very expensive electric bikes. Point being is that, like, it's a good temperature out right now, but I am somewhat sore and I have like cold sweats, so I definitely am coming on to the end of this illness, hopefully. Can't work out too much. We are going to be going across the bridge, so that'll be a challenge in itself already. But back to this castle. One of my favorite things about this castle is the fact that it's so massive. There are so many things to see. You go from one turret to another. It was very well defended. They had like rock drop ports, they had gun ports, they had bow and arrow ports, like, not to mention they had tons of gates. And they had this AR game that you could kind of take part in, where you could see like how soldiers would try to invade and what would happen in those instances, how they would get forced into like kill boxes, kill zones. and then be taken out while they're trying to invade inside the castle. Each part of the castle that you get through the gate, there's actually just, you have to keep going. And it's like 3 or 4 times where you have to just keep going, and all the while you're just getting whittled away by the by all the turrets and all the defenses. So it is a pretty nuts type of deal. One thing that I noticed as well is that, very similar to the Louvre in France, there's a lot of up and down. So you have to go up some stairs, down some stairs, up some stairs, down some stairs. And that's just to get it from the first floor to the first floor. So once you actually get to the second and third floor, which, unlike the castle that we previously visited that had the 4 floors, this one only has 3. We were able to really see a great view of the city, all around the city actually. So it was really, really impressive. But I could totally see why this is like one of the most well-regarded castles in Japan by at least all the people that I see on like TV shows. Whenever anyone's a castle enthusiast or otaku, they're always this is one of the castles that they always bring up. It's Matsuyama. This and probably Himeji. Those are probably the 2 main ones that I always hear about. The rest of them are kind of like up and down depending on which their preference is. But yeah, and then unlike yesterday's castle as well, this one has Ozu. Ozu Castle. This one actually has a ton of relics inside, and probably the biggest thing that they had relics on was samurai items. So like swords, flutes, brushes, anything that dealt with the samurai. They actually had a ton of those relics, and it was just one after another. I didn't actually take all too many photos of them though. I don't feel appropriate taking photos of displays like that, but I do have some. So here's what was kind of like more interesting to me. Another really interesting thing is that one of the vessels who was assigned to this castle is actually a national treasure. He was nominated as he was named a national treasure, and it's because he actually made swords, and he started off as a grocer's son, which was really crazy. He was born, I think it said 1901, and by 1936 he was the premier sword maker in Japan. And obviously after World War II there was a prohibition on creating samurai swords, katanas, and so he had to try to figure out a different way to live. At that point, that's actually when he got nominated, I guess you could say, as a national treasure, and he actually ended up becoming a national treasure. And I think that's just an amazing thing, because he was so honed in on his art that he was able to actually get that promotion, I guess you could call it. But I'll have to throw his name on the screen. I forget what his name was because it changed. It started one area, and then once he actually got once he actually became a sword master, like artisan, he changed his name, and then it was officially changed after he became a national treasure, so that the national treasure placard that he got would have his sword maker name on it. But that being said, we are finishing up here at the castle right now, and then we'll be going over to the bridge. And so we'll go ahead and head on out. Got to pay for parking, and go over to the bike area. Back in a second. One quick thing that I forgot to mention, like, I don't know where my head is right now. Maybe it's just too cloudy. But on the way in, one of the coolest things about this temple is that you could take a ropeway up or a chairlift up. Or yeah, this castle. What did I call it?
You call that temple.
Temple. So yeah. So that being said, Lynn and I took the ropeway up to the castle the first time, and we're going to take the chairlift down to check that out. Now, it's not necessary. You can actually hike all the way up here, but it is a fun little trinket that you could do in order to get up here a little bit faster. It's about a 4-minute ride, so I don't know if I could splice in some footage of it, or should I just throw it at the end. We'll figure out that later, but it is a beautiful ride up, and I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful ride down. Anyhow, just wanted to throw that in there real quick before we went over to the bike area. Back in a moment. Okay, so here we are back on the road. Just as a FYI, the 360 cam wasn't working all too well with this memory card. It kept timing out, so I don't know if any of the beginning portions of my talk were captured. But here we go again. We were at Matsuyama Castle, and then we went to the bicycle rental place, which is in Imabari, so it's a little bit of a distance. And although it took an hour to get there, it wasn't the fact that it was an hour away, it was the fact that it was very mundane. And I would say the mundaneness of the drive made it really boring. Alright, hang on, I'll be right back. Gotta take a quick photo. Oops. I forgot to unpause that. Anyhow, the mundaneness of that drive was what was kind of like killer about it. It's gonna kick in power here. There we go. Full blast. But we were debating whether we wanted to stop and eat. That was the big thing. And I mean, when you're on a road trip, like, you should make the most out of every opportunity you can get. So, although I was thinking, yeah, let's go ahead and stop at like a McDonald's or a Sukiya or something and eat, we ended up just keep moving and moving and moving because the mundaneness of that drive was just so boring. But we finally got to the roadside station, and we stopped and had lunch there. And so Lynn got a bolognese made out of pork pasta, and it was delicious. And I got a hamburger steak, which was equally delicious. We both got sets. Lynn got the simple set, which came with a salad and a drink. Hers was yuzu juice. I got the complex, or the big set, which came with the same two items, except I chose coffee and a thing of rice. But give me 1 second, we'll check right back in. Gonna take a quick photo and then be on our way. Alright, welcome back. So I'm gonna set this up on the headboard here and just hold it. It's late. It's like midnight. I've already taken a shower. Lynn's actually sleeping next to me. Gotta try to keep this as quick as possible, although there's a lot to talk about. I don't know what came through in the Shimanami Kaido cycle run. My GoPro was just having some crazy. This hotel we're in right now is pretty nuts for a 3-star hotel. I have to say I don't believe the reviews, but we'll get to that in a second. The Shimanami Kaido bike ride, the Insta360 was just giving me all sorts of problems. I put a card that I know works in it, and it was telling me that there was formatting issues and everything. And the first thing I always do whenever I put any card into any action camera device now is format it, because I've learned. And it was just not working. So hopefully some footage comes out. I don't know if there's any talking footage at all, talking head. I tried to do 360 footage. Don't know if I got any of that. Luckily, I did get some drone footage because we did ride across the bridge onto the first island, the horse island Unmashima. And we rode over to the lighthouse and shrine that was there. That was pretty cool. We had electric assisted bikes, and Lynn was really enthralled by that. She's never driven or rode one of those before, so it's nice to have that extra boost. And I think the only time we ever felt it was when we went down to the island. There was a portion where you had to walk your bike down and up a ramp, and battery-powered bikes are heavy. We also went over to an observation point where we ran into a Russian and a German who were traveling together. Real cool guys. Found out that both were here just on vacation, enjoying their time, rolling around, and just getting to wherever they needed to be. They actually rode the entirety of the Shimanami Kaido bridge tour. They came from Onomichi, Hiroshima, and we saw them in, what is the town called? Itoyami, something like that. It's Sunrise Itoyama, I believe, is the bicycle place we rented from. But that was the area. So in Ehime, in other words. And yeah, they started at 10 a.m. and when we saw them, it was about 4:30. So 6.5 hours. I think they did pretty good. That's like really fast. I don't know if they rode the whole thing or if they took any of the boats that went anywhere, but my guess is that they rode the whole thing. That would be, I'd give them the benefit of the doubt. They both look fit, and they were like, they had their own personal bikes that they brought with them, which was like packed down, which was pretty nuts. And so good on them. They did really well. When we first got to the Sunrise Itoyama or whatever that place was, it's actually right next to a Michino Eki, and we went and immediately got lunch there, because the biggest thing was, it was like an hour and a half drive, and we left the castle at I want to say about noon. So we were there at like 1:30ish, and we were starving. Like, we haven't eaten anything. Lynn was actually hungry for the entire time. I was just like, oh, I'm pretty hungry. I could eat right now. And so we sat down at the restaurant inside the Michino Eki and paid for somewhat of an overpriced meal. It was good, don't get me wrong. It just, for what we paid for what we got, it wasn't the best. I got a hamburger steak and Lynn got a bolognese pasta. After finishing up, we actually both got sets. Lynn got the mini set, which came with a salad and a drink. Lynn got yuzu juice. Mine came with a regular set, which was a salad, a coffee, and bowl of rice, or a plate of rice. That was enough energy to get us all the way to the island across the bridge and then back. And after meeting the Europeans at the observation point, we decided that we were going to go back and return the bikes. The bike cost was $52 in total for the both of us, which is a little pricey, but it was well worth it. Lynn really wanted to ride bikes, so kind of happy that we got to do that. And then after that, it was okay. It was about 4:30ish, 5 o'clock. I wanted to go get water from this natural water spring that's right off the ocean, and I believe it's Saijo is the town. Unfortunately, they actually close it up. Even though it's a natural spring, they lock the area because it's in a neighborhood at 6 p.m. and there was no way we're going to make it there in time. So we kind of just went to plan B and drove straight to Maruban, which is a dinner place that I had planned out for us. I was actually introduced to it by an idol group here called STU48, meaning Setouchi 48. And Ehime, being part of the Setouchi, was featured on their variety show, and Maruban was featured on that show, And one of the cool things is they make their main pasta at that store is made with orange juice. So that was really cool. So I got the main pasta, got the garlic bread and a salad, and then I got a peach tea. Lynn got a peach soda. She got a scallop pasta, and she also got the salad set. And then we actually finished off by Lynn went over to find a cache, and I just got ready in the car before we headed on out to Don Quixote. This was a mega Don Quixote, which is kind of like a mega Walmart, meaning it just has like things attached to it, like a supermarket and stuff like that. Regular Don Quixotes don't have that. And we went in to buy Lynn's coworkers and Lynn's friends some Don Quixote swag, because that's what they asked for as a souvenir. So I'm glad that we're able to get that out of the way. Walking in Don Quixote is always dangerous because you could get lost in there and it takes forever because they have so many cool things. But we finished up at Don Quixote and then came to the hotel. And so that was actually about an hour and a half drive away. So we left Ehime and now we're in Kagawa. And I have to say that drive was long. It just felt long. From that Don Quixote all the way here to Takamatsu, it just felt like it took forever. And we actually ended up getting to the hotel at about 10:15ish. Yeah, we were able to check in. One of the things that sucks is that I chose this hotel because of its location. Although, looking at it, it's not... I could have done a better job with this hotel. We're actually staying here for 2 nights, 3 days. And tomorrow's... we wake up and then have an hour-long drive, which that kind of sucks. We're going into the mountains again. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. But we got here. Another reason why I chose this hotel was they're supposed to have a ton of parking spots. And to my surprise, the entire lot, overflow lot, and the lot next door are all completely filled. And so the front desk was just like, you could just go park in the paid parking area. And so I have to pay 1,000 yen to park in a public park, pretty much, parking lot. They did have a few spots open. They had 5 tour bus areas. And I was like, could I just park in one of the 5 tour bus areas? And they said, sorry, all 5 of those tour bus areas have been reserved for a tour bus that's coming in. And so I am completely bewildered because, like, I hope when I leave tomorrow, everything is still completely full because we're leaving somewhat early. Other than that, I mean, it's just 1,000. It's like $6. Like, whatever. I'm just bitter about the fact that I had to park and then repark and then repark and pay for that parking and can't move our car now. And so we couldn't go to get anything else at Lawson's or anything. Like, we'd have to do that before we came up, and it was late. So, and being late is our fault, like my fault. There was time loss as well as the drive times were a little bit longer than I expected. So, not on the hotel staff, but other than that, coming into the hotel, let's go ahead and do a quick room tour. So we'll go ahead and get that going real quick. Alright, gotta be somewhat quiet because this hotel is packed. But over there is the elevator. We are in room 409. It's currently midnight. I just realized that I didn't do the room tour yet, so gotta do that real quick. After coming into the room, we've already taken our showers, but standard toilet and tub with a segregated sink. So the sink actually has its own faucet, and the bath or the shower area has its own faucet. And it is a fancy toilet. Controls are right there. And then as we go into the room, we have pretty devastated, but TV, the remotes for everything, lights, AC, TV, I have my charging station over there, but there's a little desk area here for you too. There's also a fridge right here. This is as much of a closet as we're getting. The AC is right there. I have my suitcase on the suitcase carrier right there, and then Lynn and I have already divvied up the beds. So Lynn's right there. Obviously she's sleeping. And then not much of a view of the outside. It is actually fogged up, but it's because it's really cold outside right now. It's like 55 degrees-ish. But yeah, so this is pretty much our room. Alright, let's get back to the talking head portion and finish off the night. And so, as you could see, the room is meh. I mean, at least there's enough room for us to kind of breathe and walk around. The bed is comfy, and I think, yeah, the water pressure is good. I don't know why they got the elevated, like, reviews, but it's just a regular business hotel to me. I will say that one thing is that we did get a non-smoking room, but at this was definitely at one point a smoking room that they've tried to convert into a non-smoking room. You could definitely smell that people used to smoke in here, which that kind of sucks. I will give them a bonus on the fact that the internet is quite nice and fast. So good on them for having great internet. They are packed. Though, if everyone who has a car here has checked in, I was looking at their wall, and it looks like all the rooms are completely full. There are a few that I do have a question about, but the way they do their keying here is that, or their billing. So I prepaid, so I have an empty keyhole on their wall. But for this particular hotel, whenever you leave the hotel, you have to give them your key. And so you can see how many rooms are filled by the amount of keys that are in the slots. And so for that many cars out there, I'm trying to think, there were quite a few keys in the wall. So I'm wondering, why was everybody parked here? Like, was it all ones and singles? Because there was still, and then here's the next part. You could tell who has to pay still because their keyhole will have paper in it. It's their bill. And so, I don't know, it's crazy. I'm pretty sure they have to be packed though. With that many cars here, there's like, seriously, there's over 30-40 cars in just this hotel parking lot, which that's a lot for a Japanese hotel parking lot. And then their overflow lot, which was another about 20 cars, is completely filled as well. So, I don't know. Like, and that doesn't include anybody who took any, there was a tour bus here parked in the lot as well. So, it's pretty confusing. Crazy. So, anyhow, we still have 2 more nights here, I believe. Yeah, 2 more nights. 2 nights? 1 night. 1 more night here. So yeah, we're going to be doing laundry tomorrow. Tomorrow should be an early ending day so that we can get plenty of time to do laundry. Yeah, we'll figure out something at that point. I have no idea what. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to try to figure out this Insta360 issue. Maybe I have to stop off at like some sort of electronics store. I don't know if they have any of the big electronic stores like Laux, or I'm trying to think, like, I don't think they have any, like, oh man, what is the Soft Map or anything like that either. We'll see. I don't know. If there's any electronic stores here, I'll definitely look out for it. But yeah, tomorrow we have some extra time. We'll go ahead and do that. It's after midnight and we do have an early start, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this long video long and end it here. Anyhow, good night, and I will see you in the morning.